Welcome to Speak Easy English. Today's story is about doubt, art, courage, and the power of self-belief. In a busy town full of shops and offices, there lived a young man named Samir. From the time he was a small child, Samir loved one thing more than anything else in the world. He loved to paint. He saw beauty everywhere he looked. He saw it in the morning light on the river. He saw it in the face of an old woman selling flowers. He saw it in the colors of the evening sky. And whenever he saw something beautiful, his hands ached to paint it. But Samir came from a simple family, and his family did not understand his dream. His father worked in a bank, and he wanted his son to work in a bank too. Painting is not a job, his father said. Painting will not pay for food. Painting will not buy a house. You must be sensible, Samir. Forget these silly colors and brushes. Get a real job. Become something useful. Samir loved his father, and he did not want to make him sad. So during the day, he worked in an office, adding numbers in long gray books. But at night, when his work was done, Samir would close the door of his small room, take out his brushes, and paint until the early hours of the morning. Painting was the only time he felt truly alive. The office paid for his food, but the painting fed his soul. Year after year, Samir painted. He filled his small room with canvases. He painted the people of his town, the streets, the markets, the quiet temples, and the wide and changing sky. He believed, deep in his heart, that one day his paintings would hang in a great gallery, and that people would come from far away just to look at them. When Samir felt brave enough, he took his best paintings to the finest art gallery in the town. The owner of the gallery was a proud man with cold eyes. He looked at Samir's paintings for only a few seconds. Then he waved his hand. "These are nothing special," he said. "Who are you? You are nobody. You have no famous name. People do not buy paintings from a nobody. Take these away. Go back to your office, young man." Samir's heart broke a little that day. But he did not give up. He went to another gallery, and then another. Everywhere he went, he heard the same cruel words. "You are not good enough. You have no name. Nobody knows you. Come back when you are famous." One owner even laughed at him in front of his customers. Samir walked home that night with his paintings under his arm and tears of shame in his eyes. His friends told him to stop. "You have tried for years, Samir," they said. "The galleries do not want you. The world has spoken. Why do you keep hurting yourself? Be happy with your office job. Forget this foolish dream." Even his father shook his head sadly. "I told you," he said. "I told you painting was not for people like us." That night, Samir sat alone in his small room, surrounded by all the paintings nobody wanted. For the first time in his life, he thought about giving up. He picked up a brush and looked at it for a long time. "Maybe they are right," he whispered. "Maybe I am a fool. Maybe I am not good enough." But then his eyes fell upon a painting in the corner. It was a picture he had made of his late mother, smiling in the golden evening light. He remembered how, when he was a boy, his mother would sit beside him while he painted. "Samir," she used to say, "do not paint for the galleries. Do not paint for money or for fame. Paint because it makes your heart sing. As long as your painting is true, it will one day find the eyes that are meant to see it. Never stop believing in the gift God gave you." Samir wiped his tears. He put down the brush he had wanted to throw away, and instead he dipped it in color. "No," he said to himself. "I will not stop. I do not paint to please the proud men in the galleries. I paint because it is who I am. Even if no one ever sees my work, I will keep painting until my last day." And so he kept going. But Samir had a new idea. If the galleries would not show his paintings, then he would show them himself. Every weekend, He carried his canvases to the busy market square. He set them up on the ground, against an old stone wall, where ordinary people walked by. He did not ask for fame. He simply wanted people to see. At first, most people walked past without looking. But slowly, things began to change. A tired worker stopped to look at a painting of a sunrise, and for a moment, his tired face softened. A young mother stood before the painting of the old flower seller, and she began to cry, because it reminded her of her own grandmother. An old man stood for an hour before the painting of the river, and he said, "This is exactly how the river looked when I was young." How did you capture my memory? Samir realized something important. The proud gallery owners had only seen a nobody, but these ordinary people saw their own lives, their own hearts, their own memories in his paintings. His art was speaking to real people, and that was worth more than any gallery wall. As the weeks passed, Samir began to see the true power of his paintings. One evening, a young man stood before his painting of a sunrise for a very long time. His shoulders were bent, and his face was full of sorrow. Finally, he turned to Samir with tears in his eyes. "I came to this city today having lost all hope," the young man said quietly. "I had decided that my life was not worth living. But then I saw this painting of the sunrise, and I remembered that after every dark night, the sun always rises again. You have given me a reason to go home and try once more. Thank you." Samir was deeply moved. He had not known that a few colors on a canvas could reach so deep into a human heart. "Please," he said, pressing the painting into the young man's hands, "take it. Keep it where you will see it every morning. And never forget that your own sunrise is coming." After that day, Samir understood that his art was not about fame or money at all. It was about touching the hearts of others. He began to paint portraits for the poor families of his neighborhood, families who could never afford such a thing. He painted an old widow's late husband from her memory, so that she could see his face again. He painted the children of a struggling laborer, so that the family would have something beautiful to treasure. He asked for no payment. The joy on their faces was payment enough. The proud gallery owners had judged him by his name and his empty pockets. But the ordinary people judged him by the truth and beauty of his work, and they loved him for it. Word of the kind painter who gave hope through his colors began to spread quietly from street to street, from heart to heart. People said, "There is a young man in the market square whose paintings can heal a broken spirit. Go and see them for yourself." And so, slowly, more and more people came to stand before Samir's paintings, some out of curiosity, and some carrying their own sorrows, hoping for a moment of peace. But touching hearts did not fill an empty stomach. As Samir gave away more and more of his paintings, his money slowly ran out. There came a week when he had no money left at all, not for food and not for paint. His colors were finished, and his canvases were used up. Samir sat in his small, cold room and stared at his empty paint box. For a moment, the old despair returned. "How can I be a painter," he thought, "if I cannot even afford paint?" That evening, hungry and tired, he looked at the one warm coat he owned. It was old, but it was the only thing of value he had left. Without hesitating, Samir took the coat to the market and sold it, and with the few coins he received, he did not buy food. He bought paint. That winter, Samir shivered through the cold nights without a coat, but his brushes were never still. "A painter without paint is like a bird without wings," he told himself, rubbing his cold hands. "I would rather be cold than silent." His neighbors saw him shivering and thought he had lost his mind. "Sell the paintings, not your coat," they said. But no gallery would buy them yet, and Samir would not stop creating. He painted the frost on his own window. He painted the steam rising from a poor man's cup of tea. He painted beauty in the very poverty that surrounded him. And slowly, those honest paintings of hard and humble life became the most powerful work he had ever made, for they were painted not for money, but from the very heart of struggle itself. One quiet afternoon, an elderly woman with kind, intelligent eyes stopped at Samir's little display in the market. She did not say much. She moved slowly from one painting to the next, studying each one with great care. She stood the longest before the painting of his mother in the golden light. Finally, she turned to Samir. "Young man," she said softly, "who taught you to paint with so much honesty? Most painters paint what they see, but you have painted what you feel. There is a soul in these pictures." "No one taught me," Samir said. "I only paint what is true." The woman smiled. "My name is Mrs. Roy," she said. "Many years ago, I owned the largest art gallery in this city. I am old now, and I have seen 10,000 paintings in my life. Most of them were clever, but empty. Yours are simple, but full. I would be honored to show your work." Samir could hardly believe his ears. He thought it was a dream, but it was real. Mrs. Roy opened the doors of her grand old gallery once more, just for him. She hung his paintings on the finest walls, under soft and beautiful light. On the opening night, the gallery was full of people. And among the crowd were the very same proud gallery owners who had once thrown Samir out. Now they stood quietly, looking at his paintings with new respect. One of them came to Samir with his head bowed. "I am sorry," he said. "I judged you by your name, not by your work. I was blind. You were an artist all along, and I could not see it." Samir's paintings touched thousands of hearts. People came from distant towns to see them. But the sweetest moment of all came when his father walked slowly into the gallery. The old man stood before the painting of Samir's mother, and his eyes filled with tears. He turned to his son. "All these years," he said, "I told you to give up your dream. I was afraid for you. But I was wrong, my son. You saw a beauty in this world that the rest of us could not see. I am so proud of you. And your mother, wherever she is smiling tonight." Years later, Samir became one of the most loved painters in the whole country. But he never grew proud, and he never forgot his hard road. Whenever a young artist came to him, full of doubt and fear, Samir would hold their hands and say, "The world will tell you that you are not good enough. People will say you are a nobody. The doors will close in your face again and again. But listen to me. The only person who can truly stop you is yourself. If you stop believing in your gift, then the world is right. But if you keep believing and keep working and stay true to your heart, then one day the right eyes will find your work. Do not paint for the galleries. Paint because it makes your soul sing. And never, ever let anyone make you stop." And that is the story of the painter nobody believed in. A story that reminds us that the greatest gift is not the talent we are given, but the courage to believe in it, even when the whole world says we should give up.